Welcome to the Hustle Wing podcast. Today we are joined by Alessandro Chasser, who is the current CEO at Dynasty. Hi there, Alessandro. How are you doing?
Doing very well. Thank you for having me on.
Pleasure. Please do tell us more about Dynasty. I looked it up. Quite interesting work that you guys are doing, especially integrating, technological, I suppose, what's the solutions as far as estate planning. So I'm really interested in hearing more about the product and the platform.
Yeah, the idea here is that there's this financial tool called the Living Trust that only the richest Americans use today. I think like over 90% of Americans don't have a trust, and there's this kind of perceived common knowledge that only the rich people should be using trust, but it's actually very problematic because trusts allow the rich to like get richer, and because most Americans don't have a trust, hundreds of billions of dollars is lost every single year to the state probate court process, to state governments, to taxes, to lawyers, to judges, basically to Uncle Sam. Because most Americans don't have a trust, hundreds of billions of dollars goes to Uncle Sam every single year. And so it's like a huge tax on non-rich Americans. And so you have this wealth divide where the rich are able to compound their wealth generation over generation, avoid probate court, avoid taxes, avoid lawsuits and creditors and divorce, all these reasons why you can lose some of your assets. Like the richest people in the world have their assets protected in these living trust vehicles, and everybody else is having to deal with all the fees and the taxes and the state government intervention and judges and so we saw this huge problem, but it was actually a very simple solution. These trust documents are just like standard templates. They're just literally fill in the blank documents. And so we saw a big opportunity to turn them into software, make them digital, make them simple, and make it free. We wanted to make it possible for anybody to create a living trust from the backseat of an Uber in less than 5 minutes, and that's our first product. It's free, simple trust creation, which is better than a will. Most people think that they should create a will, but if you have a will and you die, your will has to get processed through the probate court system. The probate court system takes on average 18 months and is very expensive because it's court fees, lawyer fees, taxes, and and it also you have to get a lawyer to represent you to fight for the if you're like a beneficiary who's inheriting assets from somebody who passed away, and you have to deal with probate court. It's a lot of time and it's a lot of money. You have to get legal representation to represent you. And so it's like this huge problem that can be solved very simply. And so that's why we thought it needs to be free. It needs to be digital. It needs to be simple. Like all you do when you create a trust is you tell us who your family members are and you tell us, what assets you have. And then you decide who gets what if something were to happen to you. And there's also this huge problem where most people don't think about creating a trust until they're retired. But by the time they retire, they have a lot of assets. They have properties, they have bank accounts, they have investments. And so you have to now go put everything into the trust after you create the trust. That's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of money. Most people don't even get around to doing it, and that's why the probate court process exists, because most people don't end up completing their trust. And so it's really we believe that the paradigm needs to be shifted, and that trust creation should be a beginning of life. It should be the first thing you do. You create your first bank account, you get your trust, and your bank account goes straight into the trust. You buy your first house, it goes immediately into the trust. At the point of acquisition of the asset, it can immediately go in the trust. Then you don't have to go back in time and retitle all the assets. And so we think there's a huge opportunity to educate the market on this very disruptive free digital product. And that's our mission. Our mission is to, the richest people in the world use trust today. We think everybody should use it. And if everybody uses it, we can solve a really big problem for the average American family.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure there are quite a lot of moving parts in that go into creating a solution like this or a platform like this. What kind of unique challenges or projects that you guys are tackling at the moment? And I ask this because we have a network of contract workers and side hustlers that might have, some skills that you guys might need to sort of meet or address some of those.
Yeah, I would say the biggest challenge that we are working through right now is we have this really disruptive message, right? Like it's free. Don't go to like any of these other websites and pay hundreds of dollars for something you can get with us for free. Um, and so part of it is just like, how do we educate the market that this exists so people that are already going to do it know that we're the best, cheapest, fastest option to do it. The other challenge is how do we educate new customers who aren't even thinking about it, right? And so the education is a huge challenge. And I think content creation is a number. It needs to be long form. It can't be like an ad that you see. You create a trust. You're like, why? Why create a trust? So it needs to be content. And that's where we've had success so far. Well, none of us are marketers. Me and my team, we're only 4 full-time employees. We're very early stage. But I've been creating some content. I do some on LinkedIn, some on Twitter, some on TikTok, some on Facebook, and just storytelling. Like here's why everybody should. Here's why the richest people do this. You should do it too. Here's how you protect assets from lawsuits. Here's how you avoid taxes. Right? Like here's all the cool things you can do with the trust. And here's why it's better than a will. Here's why it's better than a prenup. There's all this like these content opportunities, right? Like we have a very disruptive product that actually solves a huge problem for the average American. And how can we produce enough the right type of content and the right forms of content, whether it's video or whether it's blog posts. And so none of us have expertise in that. So we're just like hacking away at it whenever we have a little bit of spare time. And part of that is this, what we're doing right now, podcast, right? Like being able to tell the story is very important. And so I think people that can help us tell that story, whether it's, as a side hustle or a full-time employee, like people that can help us make videos, TikTok videos. TikTok is a massive channel for us, right? But I'm terrible at making videos and it takes time to do them. So people that can help us make TikTok videos, people that can help us write blog posts, people that can help us create content on, LinkedIn and Twitter, ghostwriters, like whatever, like people that can help us with that, I think that's probably our biggest area where we could use some extra help.
I want to go back to the product because it sounds like there's a bigger mission of just sort of solving specifically around inclusivity and access, right? I mean, I think often when we have conversations around finances, we always talk about it in a way where we almost forget that not everyone has access to specific tools and specific platforms to ensure that that is secure and that is generated and that's well preserved. What do you sort of envision for the platform in the future? What are the hopes?
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's a very big part of our mission. We have customers that sign up for us, and I get on the phone with them, and they tell me like, "Hey, I'm the first person in my entire family to create a trust." And one individual was like, "Where I come from, nobody has a trust." I was like, "Where do you come from?" And he's like, "The Baltimore projects." And these are like first generational wealthy individuals. They're like they have a business, they have a restaurant, they have a construction business, they've acquired some wealth, but like because they're not born into a multi generational wealthy family, like they don't know about these products. They don't have a lawyer that's going to help them or a financial advisor that's going to help them set it up. And so I think that's a very big part of our mission is like going after that like first generationally wealthy individuals and helping them, protect their family and protect their assets. So it's a huge part of our strategy. A lot of that will follow its way into content generation. And I think we have a lot of like big plans. Like, when you think about first generational wealth, a lot of like athletes, like pro athletes, like their first, they get their first, spot on a professional sports team. They can finally get a lot of money, first generational wealth, right? Like that's a great market for us to get after. And I would love it if, like, the first thing you do, you get your contract with the pro football team and you create your trust with Dynasty, right? Like that would be a huge accomplishment for us. Helping pull these people and their families out of multi generational poverty and helping them preserve that wealth, and doing it the right way. Um, because I think there's a lot of solutions that may not be trustworthy, and a lot of instances where people give their money to the wrong person. Like this is different. This is a self-service trust platform. You set it up yourself. You control it. Like you're not transferring your trust owns your money, and you own your trust. It's very simple.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, I like that. I like the fact that it's transparent and it's very inclusive, and also it's quite accessible. And I mean accessibility here specifically because it's online and it's digital, and we are living in an age where a lot of digital technology is allowing people to be able to use such tools. So yeah, I think that's quite a brilliant platform that you guys have there. For folks who want to learn more, where can they find you online?
GetDynasty.com, GTDynasty.com. That's the best place to go. Go directly to our website. Anybody who wants to connect with me, they can connect with me directly on LinkedIn or Twitter. Those are the two main platforms. I do TikTok, but I'm not as good with that one. But yeah, happy to connect with people directly as well.
Thank you so much, Alessandro, for your time. Really brilliant conversation.
Appreciate your time as well. Thank you.